I want to show you a little something. This is one of my little favorite areas to come out to. Nothing but me and nature out here. So I want to talk a little bit about the wind. Now, right now, I don't feel any wind. But when the wind does pick up over here, I would say it's about maybe 1.7 mile per hour wind. Maybe about 2 mile per hour wind. The reason you'll be able to tell these little things is the feeling in the face. So I'll feel a little bit in the face, or the wind kind of touching me. Also my earlobes, my ears. And these trees up there, these are your cypress trees. When the wind blows at about 1.7 miles an hour, those branches tend to sway a little bit. So now, as you can see, this right here is north. So right behind is south. Now let's go ahead and look at the water. Now if you notice, the water is flowing directly across. Now look at the tall grass right in front of you. Notice how that grass is moving directly to that side. So this is a good indicator that because we are oriented north, and it's not north because will be where I would aim a rifle. This is north because if you get a compass and you hold it up to the camera, you'll see the compass gives you north. So in this scenario right here is interesting because you have a full value wind. So this is the type of wind that when you shoot a bullet, it's going to be pushing up on that bullet from right to left, making that bullet travel out of its path and shift over to the left side. But from right behind the camera, it's a half value wind blowing like this at an angle, is at a 45-degree angle. So when it comes to wind, it's very interesting. I like to make my wind calls off of what the wind is doing at this type of height. Now I'm gonna show you how to use the clock method and use the clock method to go ahead and do your wind calls off of it. Okay guys, so for making the wind calls, the way I like to look for my wind is by reading the mirage, which we're gonna talk about. But to tell the direction of the wind, I like to use this little system right here. It's called the clock method. Now, we're gonna say that you being the shooter, you're oriented to your north. So your 12 o'clocks are always gonna be no value wind. Now if the wind is blowing directly in front of you, towards you, this is what we call a head wind, okay? Now it doesn't really affect your bullet in the sense of moving the bullet left or right, but it will affect the bullet. If it's extreme long range, the bullet will fall short. Now from behind, right over here, your 6 o'clock, this is what we call a tail wind. Same concept, it will not affect your bullet if you're shooting forward because your bullet will not veer off left or right, but it will affect your bullet at the end because your bullet will fly a little bit farther than it's supposed to. Now, this right here is your full value. This is gonna be your most dangerous one. So this is the one where if you shoot north and the wind is blowing from right to left, it's gonna be pushing that bullet very hard to the left and your bullet will veer off. Same concept, if it's blowing from left to right, okay, it's gonna be pushing your bullet to the right side. So as you shoot, your bullet goes forward and it veers it off. Now the ones that are not as bad are gonna be right here. Your 5 o'clock, your 2 o'clock, your 10 or 11 o'clock, and your 7 or 8 o'clock. These are what we call half value winds. So this means that if you shoot, these winds will be blowing your bullet to the sides. However, instead of going like this, it'll just kind of veer off a little bit. I mean, you'll still be able to make the shot. Are you gonna lose the position? Yeah. But are you gonna still be able to make the shot? Yeah. Granted, you know what the hell you're doing. Now, the interesting thing about the clock system is, even though right now I am oriented north, okay? If I were to lay my gun down this direction, and now I'm using my clock system again, as such, even though my gun is oriented now northeast, because my gun is facing northeast, now that northeast automatically becomes my north. But now if you get a compass and you look, your north is actually gonna be that direction, even though we're oriented in this direction right here. Okay? And now if I orient myself to my 3 o'clock, even though my north is that way, in the direction that I'm shooting, this is now gonna be my north if I'm using the clock system. Now, to keep it simple, people tell you use flags, okay? Now, this is the problem that I have with flags. So let's look at a flag right behind me. You got 2 flags. So my problem with the flag is this. I don't think they're gonna give you accurate readings. Look at those flags on top. The wind blows, they're moving, okay? Now, I looked at those flags before I put them on camera. Those are blowing at a half value wind. Now let's look at the water behind me and the grass behind me. They're blowing at full value. All right, guys, so we are set up and I am gonna walk you through on how to read the Mirage. And I did find a little bit of it. So we are gonna use my spotter scope. And the concept is gonna be, if you wanna get an accurate wind call, is you're gonna set up your scope. Now you're gonna use this little button right here to get your target to come out clear. And what you are going to do is move this a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, to where your target is gonna stay clear, but you're going to focus on the background of your target. And on the background of your target is gonna be blurry, but you can still make it out. You will notice that you're gonna see a little bit of vapor around that background. And that right there is the Mirage, which is the heat coming off of the earth with the sun. And once the wind blows, that little vapor that you see is gonna be shifting. And that's gonna give you an accurate reading of what the wind is doing right around the area of your target. Couple things. Notice you have a handicap sign in the back and it's blurry. Let's make it clear. See how it became clear? Okay. Now, if I want the handicap sign to be the target that I'm gonna shoot at, I go ahead and I make my handicap sign clear. And then what I want to do is move the parallax on my spotter scope to where I can get it like this. Now, if you notice, as you're staring at the handicap sign, you're gonna see the entire area around it is gonna be blurry. Now, look at the pole where the handicap sign is at, and you should be able to pick up the Mirage. You're gonna see a little bit of boiling wind. If you're having issues seeing it, stare at the yellow line in the wood, and now you'll be able to see the Mirage. So that right there is the most accurate way to make your wind calls if you're planning on shooting long range or extreme long range. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever you like. Even if it's not a good comment, it doesn't matter, just leave a comment. Guys, any questions you have, please remember, I am still teaching out of South Florida. I'm doing everything with firearms except for selling the firearm itself. So if you're looking at getting trained the right way, feel free to reach out to me and sign up for some of my courses. Guys, keep yourself safe out there, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the week.